Welcome to the Awakened Goddess Show, your source for inspiration, wisdom, and personal discovery. The place to learn from a diverse mix of mentors, metaphysical experts, spiritual leaders, and best-selling authors from around the world. I'm Angela Wilkinson, mindset mentor and founder of the Awakened Goddess Academy. Join me as I explore the minds of my masterful guests while they share powerful insights and easy-to-use tools you can start using right away. Now, let's tap into the energy of the Awakened Goddess and be enlightened by today's guest. Hey, I'm your host, Angela Wilkinson, and welcome to this episode of the Awakened Goddess Show. Gita Gavare is an instant coffee-drinking, dance and life-loving, dress-wearing ex-communist who loves to help women increase their feminine power, beauty, confidence, and to feel amazing in their own skin. She has an incredible story of triumph over many challenges, some of which we can all relate to. Today, Gita shares her journey from experiencing communism, being involved in human trafficking, and her raw and real struggles with self-worth. But before I talk with Gita, are you single and ready to meet your future husband, but you keep finding yourself in a dating dry spell? Or even worse, in one dead-end relationship after the next? Maybe you've been asking, when's it going to be my turn? Or you've been wondering where you're going to meet your soulmate. Join me for my upcoming webinar where I'll share my powerful 5-step love attraction formula and give you the keys to find true love in time for the new year. Grab your spot now for the webinar at theawakenedgoddess.com/webinar-registration, or just go to theawakenedgoddess.com and you can sign up there. Now let's talk to Gita. Well, welcome Gita to the Awakened Goddess Show. I am super honored and excited to have you join me today and talk about your amazing story. So welcome.
Thank you. I'm so happy and honored to be here. I'm so excited.
And you're all the way from Denmark. I think you're the first person I've interviewed in Denmark.
Really? I'm originally actually from Latvia, but I've been living in Denmark for 20 years. So I'm kind of Danish.
Yes.
I'm half.
So, okay. Without further ado, I would just love for you to tell us your story, because, I mean, you have an incredible story, and I think that it's a story that many people can relate to in different ways, because there is so much that you've experienced throughout your life, and so I would love for you to start there. So take it away.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah. I'd just like to start with saying that my story actually has brought me to this, what I am doing now, helping other women to stand their ground and to be beautiful, inside and outside, and not to be afraid of being themselves. I was born in a former Soviet Union, a little country, Latvia. It's very Nordic. And I really grew up believing in all that. I didn't know anything about outside world, not much, because we got very manipulated information and we got brainwashed. And I always remember my childhood, like a little bit sad and gray, although there was also very good experience. But, the system was quite hard. I was not hungry, but we were 5 children in the family, and there was never enough. And my mom was working hard and always, stressed. And my father, he was alcoholic, and he was not bad man, but, he had dreams, and because he was afraid to fulfill his dreams, or he felt that he was not allowed to do them, he was drinking. And then my mom was not happy too, and she was provoking him, and then they were fighting a lot. So it was like very traumatic to see my father beating my mom, and I was so scared because I thought he will kill one day. So I was 6 years old. One evening when he was beating my mom, I was beating him too with a wood. It's like scary. And then in the school, and we were already as very young sent to kindergartens, which was like all week. They delivered us on Mondays, and then they picked up. The parents picked us up on a Friday. That was also very tough experience. And then, also as a child, I was abused sexually by my neighbor, old man. So it's like, and that left me really like, I could not tell to anyone about that. And I experienced this feeling of shame, and also like I was worthless, like, and that it was my fault somehow. And I felt very dirty. And then, in the school, the school was hard, but I was managing. I was a quick girl. And then I got through the school system, which was also we got it was still Soviet Union time. So we got military education. So even we girls, all the children, we learned to march like soldiers and to sing, the hymn, both in Latvian and the Russian. And we were made to believe that we are nobody. And then I even became school's communist leader, the young one, and, all these things to learn to deal with Kalashnikov. It's automatic, very famous Russian. It's simple, but it's automatic weapon. And it's like, it sounds like crazy, even while at the same time I was studying to become dresser, to make women dress. Originally, I come from country. I was growing up in the countryside, and you had to work extra. So I was working the farm and the fields, and the good side, it was very close to nature. So we learned a lot of this wisdom about herbs and how they can heal, how they can help you, if you got sick or ill, how it could be. Because the first thing when we would do, we would not go to the doctor, but then we would try to do the things the same ourselves. And even my mom told me that one of my little small brothers, he got very sick when he was a small child, and the doctors could not help. So she went to a healer and get, this special thing, which the healer would say words about that. And then my mother would use this like cream kind or butter on my brother's body, and it worked. So in that way, we were very connected to nature and learned how to heal and also become very strong, because our life was very, very simple. We didn't have running water in the kitchen, or we didn't have toilets inside. In summer it's fun, but not so much fun in winter when there's very cold. It's minus 30 in Celsius. I don't know how much it was in Fahrenheit, but a lot of snow and all that. You need to carry a lot of water to heat up for the food and for the animals, and then there was not so much left to, for your own, to wash yourself or like that. So, but anyways, all this, kind of very Spartan or rather primitive life I experienced made us very robust and strong. When I was a communist leader, they promised me I would have a great career like a communist. And I was just wondering, I really didn't believe in the system, or I believed I didn't know anything better, but I didn't go in that. And then all suddenly the times changed. It started in the late 1980s, with the when Gorbachev started to make. Gorbachev was the former president of the Soviet Union, when he wanted to make this change, to make the Soviet Union more democratic and all that. And then we start to get more information, and then we were allowed to we discovered that we have some old songs I didn't know existed, because you never heard about that, and some books. And so it started such a wave of revolutionary wave, people wanting freedom. And I remember the time it was really amazing. And Latvians are not aggressive. Actually, we started with some very famous singing revolution. All the three small countries, which are our neighbors, like Estonia, Lithuania, Latvia, one day they stand like 2 million people hand by hand through all those countries and in protest for the occupation. And then in 1991, I ended up in the winter in the barricades in the Riga, in the capital city of Riga, where the Latvians made where the Gorbachev, from Moscow, from the central, sent some special units to put down these freedom fighters or all that. They wanted to control that, and they sent some special units. And then I was in Riga, I was studying, and they said we have to go away because the special units from Moscow is coming, and the tanks were surrounding Riga. And I ended up in the middle of the Riga, but really men were building barricades like you see in the Second World War movies. And but the feeling was amazing there. We felt so connected, and the energy was so high, and I didn't feel any fear at all. I was just so excited, and people were friendly. Thanks God it happened. There was only one man killed, so we got actually freedom very, very, very easy or costless. So, and afterwards, when we got freedom, the life changed radically, because before we said we want the freedom, cost what it cost, but all suddenly the life changed, because in Soviet Union not everything was bad. We had a very secured life. The school was free, the education was free, the doctors were free, but the things were maybe not that good. But it was very, very, there was no homeless there at all. We all were secured, all had money, and only there was maybe not things enough to buy, or they were not good quality, and that was other question. But everybody had a home, and it was made like that you should not be thinking or worried. The system took care of you, but of course you paid the price. You didn't have the freedom of choice. So, but after the system collapsed, all the big factories, everything collapsed. And then people were like facing what to do now. And to survive, actually, you had to become independent. You had to think, you had to be a businessman. And when you never learned this, you don't know how to do it. Many people really experience hard times. And there was a chaotic situation. So, and there was no jobs. So then I ended up suddenly in Germany, in Bradel, because I had met a very handsome man, a Latvian, who promised us that there's me and two other girls who were Russian actually, and they had the children. I didn't have. I was only 22. He promised us a job in Germany, like a waitress. I was working like that. And we were so naive, we didn't know, because we saw like all the Western world, we idolized, we thought everything is so fantastic there. And of course, it was our dream to go away from that and to get, to survive. And so we were cheated, or we were so cheated to in this, to work in Bradel in Germany, to be prostitutes, to say. So I always felt that there was some angels who kept on me. So we were ended only there 2.5 months, and we didn't experience the worst, what I heard from other girls, and we could return home. But still, it was very hard experience, and which left me with a lot of shame. And I knew when I returned home, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't go to police. I knew they will just say, "Oh, you whore, it's your own fault," And I felt, they also myself, that was my own fault. That I was, how I could be so stupid, how I could be so naive, and this huge shame. So So I decided I wouldn't tell anyone, because I was afraid if I would tell anyone, then they will just push me out, and will judge me, and nobody will love me. So after that, I didn't know what to do, but then I was back in my parents' home in the little village, and people start to talk, oh, what she's been doing there, people start to hear stories. So I thought, oh, I don't like that. So I remember there was a first beauty contest in our city. So I signed up that. And I participated in that, and I got in the final. I didn't win, but I became one of the three last girl. So, I experienced and I was surprised to see people's reaction, just because I participate in beauty contest and was there, people start now to call me beauty queen. And I thought, oh my goodness, I was inside the same little girl, or before they would call me, like whore or saying rumors. And now I was a beauty queen. So I left my little town and went to capital city to work, and there I met my now ex-husband and a businessman from Denmark, and that way I came to Denmark. So, and then I thought, oh my goodness, I have made it. I'm like pretty woman. I have met my dream man, and now will be beautiful life in a big house. In some ways it was, but then because I was so insecure and already, because inside me I felt very dirty and with a lot of shame, I was like, and because also of my uprise, I was like very big people pleaser, because I just so wanted to be loved, I wanted that everybody would like me and think I'm so wonderful. So I was like working 24 hours and forgetting and neglecting me totally, and never feeling satisfied, never feeling I was beautiful or never good enough, whatever I did. So we got 3 children, and when they got a little bit older, I experienced I was in deep depression, because I was working both for children and my husband. We had company, and when everything was done in the evenings, I would just come down in the kitchen, sitting, eating white bread and drinking wine and feeling totally empty, and so unhappy. And I would saying to myself, why, I have everything. I have a big house and children and husband, and everything looks nice, but I was feeling so terribly. And I couldn't see myself really. And my husband, because I was like making myself very small and everybody else very huge. When I was not respecting me, nobody respected me. And then I found out my husband actually was psychopath, he was manipulating me without, I didn't realize that afterwards first, when I got healing and treatment, that he was not beating me physically, but psychologically. And that I could not understand it, because I already felt very bad about myself. So I say, yeah, I'm also such an idiot. But even though in my stomach, I felt such anger every time he would, say something terrible to me, I would like, but then I had learned to be a good girl, so I would just swallow it and keep it myself, until one day it sprang out and I was just screaming like 10 times at him, in that very low voice, fuck you, fuck you. He even got scared and didn't say a thing. But I met a wonderful, wonderful Reiki healer teacher, by accident. No, there's nothing, no accidents, but that was the time before I even knew much about spirituality. I knew, but I still thought, like healers, it's something with long green nails and long hair, like very old witchy. But we were in very smart dinner at our home, and I was sitting next to one businessman, and he told me he is a Buddhist, and he just, he visits every month or this healer, and she has told him this and that. She was also clairvoyant or medium. And I got so interested that I was so scared, the boss. I knew I had to call her, but I was so scared. So it took me like 1 month till I called her. And then already in the telephone, she told me so many things that I immediately, start to cry. And so it started my journey when I visited her, and she told me, it's nothing wrong with you. It's just that you really have to learn to love yourself, and that I was good enough. And I was like, what? It's totally new, it's like, was again, like the same feeling like when Soviet Union collapsed, it's like totally new world opened to me. And I wanted really to change the things. I wanted to be happy, and everyone to be happy. Also, my husband told that. And he was not bad person. He had this good heart too, but because he had experienced very hard childhood, he chose to be hard. Mm-hmm. He chose to take the hard way, full with fear and very conservative. So, and with support of my friends, I got divorced because when I started to get education, I was totally dependent on him because he wanted, because I realized later he made me to be dependent totally of him. So I was weak. And I felt also very weak. I felt like I was nothing. I was stupid. I couldn't do anything. Even afterwards, I look back, I had so many talents. I have so many talents, but I didn't appreciate it because I thought it's nothing. Everybody can do that. And I also couldn't dare to go for divorce. I was so afraid because I thought I couldn't do anything. How I will survive, and what about children? And until my best friend supported me and says that this is not life, you have to get divorced. And my husband also was threatening myself with divorce because I had started education at school, and he didn't like that. He find excuse, that I should not be going to school. It's destroying family, and then he threatened because he knew he always worked before, not this time. And when I left him, I knew I have to change myself, that there's something wrong in me, that I keep attract this experience. And so it started my journey with, first with Louisa Hay, and then many different healings and courses and books and all that. And it's like step by step, with frustrations, all that. But I am there where I really feel strong, and I feel great about myself, and I feel wonderful, and I feel wonderful, and I look wonderful. So now I can see back that all those experiences have, it was for me to learn to stand my ground and learn to see who I am, and how clever, beautiful, and so many things I can do. And this leads also that I'm writing a book now, which I really want to, for women, that I hope it will help women to really realize how strong they are, how beautiful they are, and not to be dependent of society or media or their husbands or no one, And I believe because if women are empowered, when they stand their ground and not afraid of anything, they will change the world. They will put all the men who are behaving bad in their place. They will grow up. They will grow and teach their sons to respect and honor women, and their daughters to be strong. So I'm doing that. I'm two sons. My oldest is 18 and the other is 14, and they're wonderful. They are amazing. We are more like friends. And my daughter is 10, and she is like, oh my goodness, I look at her and I think she is so wise. She is this strong woman, or the strong girl. Totally different that I was. And I am so happy and proud for them. And I am also like proud. I did it. That she, she didn't follow. She didn't become like I was, like I did. I became like my mom was when I was younger, and secure. But she grew up strong, and I'm grateful because I can see that when I took the change, I took the responsibility to deal with my issues, to heal myself and my life. That also in that way influence my children, because they watch. They don't listen what you say. They watch how you do. And then, that was long story.
Well, but I mean, there's just so much there that you've experienced, and like I started the show. that I think that there are so many women that can relate to pieces of your story, and how, um, you went through times where you were doubting yourself. You were living very small, and you were like withdrawing instead of expanding, and really being your authentic true self. And so, let's talk about that. Um, you know, I'm sure that there are a lot of women that are maybe in relationships or marriages where they don't feel supported, um, and the idea of stepping out is scary. And you also talked about how that first step, you went to that dinner party, and the woman was sharing, talking about um, all sorts of like spiritual things, but that was also scary. So let's talk about that. When it's like we have this inside knowing that it's maybe time for a change, but change is scary, and how you stepped into that. So let's talk about that.
It is scary. I was scared to know, as I told you before, I didn't have self-esteem, I didn't have money, I had nothing. And I had told also my husband finally the story, my shameful story about this experience in Germany as prostitute. And he was using that against me to take away my children. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh my goodness, what I do. But what helped me, I asked advice to another medium, because really when you are ready, the ways come. And like clairvoyant medium, and she was very sharp. She was so empowering. She said, just do it, it will develop. You just go there. And she gave me a lot of advice, and she saw this vision. And she told me too, because I was still feeling, sad for my husband, because I thought how he will manage without me. And she said, what? He is, killing you, and look at what he has done to you. Mm-hmm. He has really destroyed you, and you still think about him. Mm-hmm. This is typical women, we do.
Yeah.
And then she gave me so much, the power, and that it really gave me belief. And it made it less scary. And I still had to do these things, to go to courts and all, figure out how I will live and to find a place. But because her empowerment, her words, her believe in me, she put me this vision in front of me. He gave me so much motivation and believe I can do it. And it will be a way. And I was reading also Louise's Hay book, you can heal your life. Mm-hmm. And that there was so much this positiveness, which it says, if you believe and vision, all that, it will come around. And that helped me to make the first step.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it sounds like really surrounding yourself with people that truly are on your side and are there to support you. Like you said, you had a really good friend. You had this psychic medium, this clairvoyant that helped you. So having those people, it sounds like, that's something that's very important.
It is important. And you know what I learned, because my ex-husband was psychopath. I didn't have actually many friends. I didn't have family in Denmark. I had one good friend. Actually, she was his friend first, but she became mine more. But he would really make that I couldn't see my friends, and as soon as I would do something, he would always find excuse. I couldn't go out for tea or like that. And if they came home, then he would overtake, and like push me background, and he would talk with the friends. So it was difficult for me to establish really deep friendships. But thanks God, my children were going kindergarten, so there were some mothers we were resonating. And then they supported me amazingly, because when I moved from my ex-husband, I couldn't get any piece of furniture with me, nothing. I went with my children, some clothes and some toys. And then comes all these guys and say, "Oh, I have a table you can get. I have a bed." So also suddenly I got my little apartment, full with furniture. And therefore, it's so important for women us to reach out and help other women, And I was extremely shy that time. Also, I was feeling very bad. So I was also for me, it was difficult to go out and to make friendship, because I was feeling very bad about myself, So I'm grateful that some girls, anyway, stick with me, because I was not very active making friendships. But I mean, it's so important for other women when the support of other people, because it is challenging. It's so hard. I felt really like jumping in deep, cold water, dark. I didn't know what will come out, and therefore, thanks God, that medium and my friends, I could make it.
Yes. So when you're in that place of doubting yourself and not having the confidence in what you're thinking and what you're feeling, how do you find your truth within all of that?
For me, it was quite a road, because in the beginning I was doubting me all the time, and I would reading these positive affirmations, and I would tell to my mind, but my subconscious mind would not believe anyway. Like it was like, oh, I would still get out, and because I learned that you need to heal these traumas, and then I started, because all those, at least for me, all those experience, from my childhood, that people have not respected my boundaries, and all those hard experience, that special, that deep experience of shame. Therefore, also I want to write this book to women, because I learned, even Denmark, I was doing one woman shows where I also tell this story, and women are come to me, and even in Denmark, where the gender equality is very high, there's many girls get, abused or raped, or somehow otherwise their boundaries are not respected, and they are afraid to talk about that, but they are experiencing how damaging it is for them. They really cannot fully be themselves. And it was, for me, I had this huge shame. I was so weak because of that. It made me very weak. So I started doing healings, all different kind of healing. Some were stronger, some maybe didn't work. I just felt that, I need to heal. I was like piece of cheese with lots of many holes. So I needed to heal these holes to make me whole. So one there, because I had so many of them. So and then by healing one by one, or sometimes several by the time, I become more and more stronger.
The development that you went through, I mean, you definitely had some turning points that kind of opened up the doors for you, which I think we all have those opportunities and those times that come to us, and having that courage to step forward and make that change, even if it's a small little step. I mean, it might feel huge, but taking those little steps, as you say, to heal those parts of yourself, because and you mentioned this earlier, is that when we have those parts in us, that's where we're attracting from, and we keep attracting those same situations over and over again to reinforce our beliefs, whether we believe that we're not good enough or not worthy or whatever. And that can be in relationships, that can be in business, with friends. And so yeah, the power of taking those little steps and doing that inner work is so, so powerful. And I know for you that out of all of this, that you are really wanting to help women own their power and really step into their brilliance. And, that's also something that, that's why I love this show, is allowing people to really show their true authentic self. And so that's why I love your story, is because you have gone through, the gamut of challenges and so yeah, I just love it. I love it.
Yeah, I remember, yes, I always had also, since I was small, I always knew that there's something bigger. I just knew it, even maybe not that big. And I was very positive minded. Yeah. I always had there must be something better, and I was daydreaming and always dreaming. And the fantastic thing is that everything I dreamed, I experience. It comes around, even, and then I realized, my goodness, I'm very good manifester of things. Mm-hmm. And I had this, maybe because I had this inner knowing, even maybe I didn't recognize that, but that I knew there must be something better, and mm-hmm. I become very good to adjust circumstance. I become very good survivor. And maybe because I knew there must be something better, because I know my cousins, in my village, I could also stay like them and become alcoholic. Right. I had the same, even worse. One of my brothers is alcoholic, and he had much nicer life. He didn't have this experience. He was actually the one who was spoiled in our family, and my cousins or others. And I was wondering, I could be like them too. I am after Germany, other place. I was drinking too, but then I got enough. I said it's not good. I want father. Now it doesn't help me. I don't want to stick in that, and I always find a ways. And I remember even my sister, when I called her when I left my husband, I called her and I was like, oh, I don't know what to do. I'm divorcing and I'm afraid. And she told me, Gita, you are like a cat. You always jump on your how we say in English, 4 feet, or
yeah,
you always manage.
Yeah, you always land on your feet.
Yeah, and then she said that, and it helped me so much. It always reminded me, even with challenging situation, that I always will manage. But therefore, I know we all we just don't happen. We come to this life to experience and learn things. And I can look back now and I say, yeah, it was very hard and all that. But I have learned so much. I have learned to understand men, why they do things. I don't hate men, I love men. I have other point of view towards sex and all that. I love sex, I have healed all those parts. I don't have shame. I have learned what beauty is, it has opened me so much to enjoy life in the fullest. Mm-hmm. And I like to challenge myself, because I started to do one-woman shows, when I tell all the stories, also funny and terrible, but I tell like, if I can go through this shit, then you can do it too. So, to inspire other people, say, come on, if so many women afterwards, my show, they say, oh my goodness, you just you look so stunning, you are so beautiful and always happy. I didn't know that you have such a story behind what you have been through. Mm-hmm. And if you can do and you can go through all that and be like this, so can I too, because especially like in Denmark, in the country, it's well developed, life is good, but so many people are suffering and happy because they have not learned to appreciate life. They've been like greenhouse plants. When they experience real life, they don't know what to do. They get, just a stronger wind gets them down. And So they find it very experiencing. So I like to remind all the people that we come here to learn, experience. We are much stronger than we think, and it's not waning. It's like by challenge we learn. And also for me to stand up on the stage and tell me my story, it was very challenging, because even though I like to be in spotlight, I was very shy. I'm still am, and I'm extremely sensitive, so I can feel people's energies. And also my experience from my childhood, I was always criticized and judged. So I was expecting, people will never like what I will tell them, or they will criticize or laugh at me,
Mm-hmm.
And I realized as more I do, as more I relax and don't think what they think, as better I become, and people love me more and more. Yeah.
I think that's so powerful what you just said, that the more we relax into who we truly are, and we express that, then, without thinking about what other people are going to think or feel, then that's when we're truly living in alignment with our true selves. And people are attracted to that. And I think that that's a journey that we all go through, is trusting that we are enough just as we are. We don't have to be any particular thing. We don't have to try to be something else. We just need to be comfortable in ourselves and expressing that.
Yeah, exactly. And then no media, no man, no one has power over you.
Right.
They can tell, because you have your own power. And therefore I also tell the story, especially about experience being abused, because I know the shame is so huge, and the shame is terrible killer. And I know so many women have been experiencing something so terrible. Therefore I believe by telling that, I show, I stand up. I will help other people, other women to stand up and tell their story, and heal the shame, to drop the shame, and okay, I was there, I experienced that. So what? I am wonderful anyway. I am fantastic.
Yeah. Well, last week I interviewed a woman about forgiveness. And we talked about hope and forgiveness, and a lot of it is about forgiveness for yourself. And we are carrying around these stories, and all of that, we're always at choice. We can choose to be a victim to a situation or a person, or we can choose to empower ourselves and maintain our own personal power in that situation. And so I think that, the hope that you give to other women, and just standing in your own power and sharing your story, and the things that you've gone through, I think that, like you say, that really helps so many other people, both men and women, to realize that, it happened. Well, I believe that every experience is just part of our journey, and, we have tough experiences, but it's in how we respond to them that really determines the outcome. And when we're able to forgive the other person or ourselves and let go of that energy of shame or doubt or regret or whatever it happens to be that's being held on to, once we're able to let that go, we free ourselves so much. And then we're living in the moment. We're no longer living in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I agree. It's the best, and it's the best beauty secret. When you let it go, when you forgive. For me, it was easy to forgive others. It was very difficult to forgive myself. But when you really do that, and let all the regrets and see the things from different point of view, and say, "Wow, experience," it really makes you it keeps you young.
It does.
And healthy, because I believe all those feelings when you carry around make you sick. Therefore, so many people are experiencing cancer, whatever, because there are those feelings kept deep in. They've been not screamed out. They've been not talked out. They've been not healed out. And I say, my son, it's okay to be angry. You just may not destroy furniture or beat other people. Do with your pillow or a sofa or go to boxing. It's very good to get it out. We all get anger sometimes and frustrated. It's or sad or. It's good to cry. I said my children also. It's healthy to cry, because when you cry out,
yes,
you are much lighter and happier.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I don't know how many times I've heard when I've coached people and helped them let go of those feelings, those old repressed feelings, they lose weight. I mean, literally, you become lighter. And so many things open up, because anytime we're holding on to that old energy, those old feelings, those old emotions, whatever they are, we stop that flow. And I think that that's probably why you're such a great manifester, is because you allow your feelings to be. You don't try to stuff them or push them away and all that stuff.
Yeah, thank you. But I have my moments too, and I felt sometimes actually about victimhood. Mm-hmm. It's actually easier to be in victim role because it's so nice. It's so known. It's like, then you don't need to take the responsibility and do the thing.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's easier. Therefore, also many people stick in that. Mm-hmm. Stuck in the victim role, like victimhood. Like,
yeah. Well, it feels easier in the moment, but in the long run, it's so painful. So painful. Yeah.
Exactly.
So to wrap us up, if you were to give the listeners a tip, thinking about everything we talked about, what is something that they can start doing right away to maybe if they're feeling a little afraid to take those steps forward, what would you say?
I experienced, and I'm 100% sure that we have angels around us, and the universe. Of course, it's heard so many times, but we are supported. And if you dare, you get even more supported. And the best step, of course, it's also like heard 100 times. It is at starting to love yourself. Whatever happened, it's just experience. What the worst can happen? You can die. We will die one day. Anyway, although I don't believe we really die, but we end the life in this lifetime. Mm-hmm. But to give and don't take things too seriously. Of course, if there happens very big tragic, you get shock, it's normal. But sometimes we get lost by all those smaller things. If you feel like you want to change your life, you just do it. Follow your inner feeling. Mm-hmm. Your intuition.
Don't doubt that. Yeah, those little feelings that you get inside, you got to listen to them. And they will get stronger.
Yeah, and I would say get healing. Read the books. I think I always, because I have friends who have been going to psychologists, and they stuck in that because they talk and talk and nothing happens, and they still feel that they're dependent. I wanted always radical. I want to deal with that issue. I don't want, to suffer. Right. So I would get a healing. What resonates? There's so many there's so many wonderful people who can help you. And we are here for each other to help, because we cannot do it on our own. And that is so efficient. The best thing to do for yourself. Mm-hmm. If you feel something, find a healing for that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, beautiful. So you have a special gift for the listeners, so tell us about that.
you can get this mini workshop, three essential secrets behind being a stunning and happy woman.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Gita, for joining me today and sharing your amazing story. And, you've offered a lot of hope and inspiration for those listeners. So thank you.
Thank you. My great pleasure and honor. I hope more women will stand up and take their place and see their own beauty.
That's right. That's right. Stand up, ladies. Own it, girlfriends.
You are beautiful.
Yes. All right, and now I'd love to hear from you, my gorgeous goddess. Was there something that Gita or I shared that resonated with you? If so, I'd love to hear about it. You can leave us a comment on today's show page at theawakenedgoddess.com. So get yourself over there and leave a comment right now. Did you enjoy this episode? If so, subscribe to the show and please share it with your friends. And if you want even more incredible resources, join the Awakened Goddess community to get Gita's gift and bonus content from the show. And until next time, goodbye everyone! Thank you for listening to this episode of the Awakened Goddess Show. I hope you enjoyed today's guest and got something you can start using in your life right away. For more spiritual insights and to listen to more episodes, subscribe to The Awakened Goddess Show at theawakenedgoddess.com and discover wisdom that'll change your life.